Hi, family. Welcome back. Good morning, sis.
Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. God
We're
morning.
on God morning. Let's let it be a God morning and a God day. We're on lesson 268. This one is entitled, Let All Things Be Exactly as They Are. Let all things be exactly as they are. This is a big area of confusion among spiritual students. There is a movement of let's let everything be as it is and love what is arising. Let's be the love that holds and enfolds the gap, and to be compassionate and to be with what the physical senses are seeing, and to accept it
And
on some level.
yes, sis, and
Mm-hmm.
I think the big thing for me that irks me the most here, all right, is
Yes.
that in that accepting and loving what is in the gap as it's arising,
Mm-hmm.
there's also the request to surrender to it.
Yes. Well, right, because you're giving it a place and you're giving it reality, deference, right? You
Mhm.
have an object now of your affection. Oh gosh. Okay, so those are not these teachings. They
No,
do not
no.
mix.
You got to do this with me. Ready? That way, that way, that way. That's it. No, no, no.
No.
No, no,
Hail to the no. Okay.
hell no. That is not what Jesus is teaching.
And
It
it's
might
not.
be what other teachers are teaching, like Byron Katie,
Mm-hmm.
which is very helpful in the beginning,
Mm-hmm.
and all is well with all of that. But at some point, we're going to have to graduate if we want to awaken from the dream
Yeah.
of the body and time and space,
Yeah.
and not just in the dream, to perpetuate through the reincarnation cycle. As much as it's an illusion,
Mm-hmm.
it's god awful painful.
And is there any more arrogance in making sickness than in witnessing to it and then saying, let's just love what is? That is arrogance against God. That is not honoring God, who knows nothing of sickness. That's saying you exist, God, and this also exists, right? Jesus looked upon error and cast it out. I don't know of any example where Jesus asked for a human history or took a pulse or checked someone's tongue or asked, anything about it. He looked upon it, knew it was an abomination, a lie, an outright lie that had no presence, no power, no ability, no activity, no intelligence, no life of its own. Cast it out. So what are we doing when we love what is? Boy, I tell you, it feels better to an ego. If I'm an ego, love what arises. Absolutely. It doesn't matter if you hate me or you love me. Just give me room in your consciousness, because as long as you're feeding me, I'm safe and I'm here to stay. Right? This gets our this yeah.
No,
Yeah, I'm triggered.
forgive us, beautiful
Yeah.
family.
Hmm.
Forgive us, all right? Forgive us. We're a little
Fired
passionate
up.
about this.
Yeah.
We've still got
Hmm.
some evolving
Yeah.
to do in the dream.
Some deep forgiveness on our part. Yes.
Mind you, Jesus did turn the tables.
Mhm.
There was a little bit of anger,
Some
righteous wrath.
righteous wrath. Yes. Sometimes love will move in effective ways, and we don't know how it needs to move. But if
It's
Jesus
called,
was doing it, I support that. Yeah.
yes, tough love.
Yeah.
Is
Yeah.
tough love, the more and more um, I seem to be journeying through this transfer of trust from fear to love, the more I'm seeing that love comes about as or through discipline, through vigilance, and through making the positive separation.
Yeah.
Right. So that's how it's done. It's through that. So we need to know very, very clearly what the nature and will of God is, and therefore what are God's laws,
Yeah.
as opposed to the ego's laws and the nature of the ego, right?
And if I'm on a spiritual path, I'm gonna hear what Nouk is saying, and words like discipline and vigilance, and the hatred of the ego thought system that we bring up time to time. Those are not things that I like to hear, and I would rather hear all about love and just
Peace and
forgiveness.
brown rice.
Yes, peace. I want lots of brown rice, and nothing's wrong with brown rice, but you get what I'm saying? It's like it's not a happy message to hear. However, I have to ask you this question. Is there anything more loving than casting out sickness, sin, disease, lack, conflict, and death, and restoring the kingdom of heaven, which is grace and love and peace and joy and truth and life eternal? Honestly, like, look at when we cast out what isn't to bear witness and experience what is there anything more loving? So when we say you don't have to be complacent and make room for what is not God's will, that your birthright is your inheritance of total freedom, that you're not the body, why would we balk at that? It's only an ego that would say, this is not a very popular message. Surely there's a teacher that can tell me something that I want to hear. This is the most loving message.
Yeah.
No death. Yeah. Okay. Sorry. Let all things be exactly as they are in truth. Let me not be your critic, Lord, today, and judge against you. Let me not attempt to interfere in your creation and distort it into sickly forms. Let me be willing to withdraw my wishes from its unity, and thus to let it be as you created it.
Which is the real world.
That's it.
Okay.
For thus will I be able to recognize myself as you created me. In love was I created, and in love will I remain forever. What can frighten me when I let all things be exactly as they are? This is the letting. This is the forgiving for us, for interjecting a wish of separation, the thought of bodies, the thought of separation, the idea of fear and guilt in its countless forms. Forgive us, Father. We surrender this to let things be as they already are. The kingdom of heaven right here at hand as God is calling it, creating it, causing it. Yes?
So, sis,
Yeah.
To let everything be as it is means that I have to forgive. I have to be willing to drop the filter of fear that I'm seeing everything through.
Yes.
Right? So what my body's 5 senses are reporting to me is separation. That is what I need to drop. I need to be willing to drop that so that I can see what's really there.
Right. And I would even go back one step further to say that true forgiveness and to see with Christ's vision is to also forgive the concept of the body that we think we are that's using physical sense. It's not just I'm forsaking physical sense. I am surrendering this concept that I have identified with falsely, and I'm accepting, I'm total surrender. I am not Coreen. I am not a mythical me, and I'm not a body. I do not know this thing that I am, but I am going to accept the atonement. I'm going to simply accept right here that I must be as God is creating me. He is my Father. He is my creator. And how he created me is how I am right now. And that's going to be an impartation because the mind right now has no clue. It's amnesia. So we sit and we bring that mind to a state of peace and we ask. And we wait for his mind to impart to us what we tried to forget, or what we did forget. Yeah. Yeah, it's a deep, deep surrender of everything and allowing what is to arise in our awareness. Because it is right here. Jesus says the kingdom of heaven is at hand. It's ongoing. It's all around you. You're moving in it. You're swimming in it, but you're not experiencing it but for this belief that you are a body or a separate mind through a body. Yeah.
So I'm really, when I'm forgiving, again, I'm really wanting to be wrong about what I'm perceiving.
And what I am.
Yeah. And what I am.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm not this ego. I'm not this body. And what I'm seeing from the ego and its body doesn't exist.
Yeah.
And it's not part of God. So how could it be part of me? So yeah.
Thanks, sis. Well, yeah, because we all have to come to this place of, well, why do I want to accept that I'm not mythical me? I mean, by this time, we would hope that every one of us has hit the wall. We find the course when the prodigal son hits the wall. So you're starting to wake up to this world is originating from my mind. Its basis is seek and don't find. It will never bring me true happiness. But when I turn away from it, through forgiveness and accept the atonement, I'm feeling the holy instant. I'm experiencing miracles, corrections in my mind, and it feels so good. And there's the reminder of home. So this is where we seem to find ourselves. We know there's something real here at hand to experience that brings us joy. And this is that vigilance that Sis was talking about in the beginning. Turning away, not getting absorbed into what physical sense is reporting. That's the practice. And this is this lesson today. It's a letting, it's an allowing, it's an accepting and receiving of what is in place of what we tried to believe instead. Let all things be. All things. Let all things be exactly as they are, as God created them, as they are in truth. Let not our sight be blasphemous today. That's a big word. It's blasphemy to see anything apart from true creation. But let's just love it. Let's just love it. Sorry, being a badoo head.
Okay, so this is interesting. I'm going to have to go search for a quote. You keep reading.
Okay, well, I'll read slow because there's not much left to read. So let not our sight be blasphemous today, nor let our ears attend to lying tongues. I mean, that's a big statement that while we're off as mythical me, our sight is only reporting what is blasphemous and our ears are not hearing anything true. That's a great reminder. It's all illusory. He says only reality is free of pain. Only reality is free of loss. Only reality is wholly safe. And it is only this we seek today. So basically he's saying while we're relying on a mythical me, we can expect pain, loss, and a feeling of being vulnerable, right? Because it's just open season on attack. Everything that the ego thought system holds within it, we're open to it until we're free of the thought that we are mythical me. Did you find it, sis?
Finally. Yes, thank you.
How's that for good timing?
Perfect. This is from chapter 10, The Idols of Sickness, and it's section 5, titled The Denial of God. And this is to support what we've been talking about in this lesson, that it's not appropriate once we get to this particular phase or stage of the development of trust. It's just not appropriate to accept what is. In other words, to accept everything that the ego is projecting. Yeah. So Jesus says this: if God knows, excuse me, if God knows his children, that's you and us, right? We're all one. If God knows his children as wholly sinless, then it is blasphemous to perceive them as guilty. If God knows his children as wholly without pain, then it is blasphemous to perceive suffering anywhere. In other words, to believe suffering anywhere.
Right.
Now, if God knows his children to be wholly joyous, then it is blasphemous to feel depressed, to believe in depression. All of these illusions and the many other forms that blasphemy may take are refusals to accept creation as it is. This is the lesson today. What is the, can you?
268, let all things be exactly as they are.
Thank you. See how it ties in beautifully?
Oh, yeah.
Right, with this? So all these illusions are refusals to accept creation as it is. If God created his son perfect, and he did, that is how you must learn to see him, to learn of his reality. Meaning that's how we need to see our brothers, sisters, and ourselves.
Right.
And as part of the sonship, that is how you must see yourself, to learn of your reality, right?
Right. And why settle for a watered down version of this, right? It's like to somehow keep the illusion but have a better feeling towards it is the spiritual ego's way of tricking us into allowing it some foothold in our thought. It isn't. It isn't on, in its greatest form, and it isn't as we reduce it and try to be loving towards it or not feed it as much. No, it has, if we give it 1% of our acceptance, we're gone. He says 1% is 100%.
That's it. That's right. He also says here, do not perceive anything God did not create: sickness, pain, conflict, war. What else? What? Oh, bankruptcy. Sorry for laughing. Scarcity, all of these things. Do not perceive anything God did not create, or you are denying him.
Right.
His is the only fatherhood, and it is yours only because he has given it to you. Right?
Yeah.
Good.
That's it.
I rest my case.
That was a beautiful case. You'd make a fine lawyer. I'm trying to find definitions of blasphemy, but it used the words, it's generally defined as the act or offense of speaking sacrilegiously about God, irreverence, disrespect, profane. That was helpful. Let not our sight be blasphemous today, nor let our ears attend to lying tongues. Only reality is free of pain. Only reality is free of loss. Only reality is wholly safe. And it is only this we seek today. Let all things be exactly as they are.
As they really are. Very different than the non-dual spiritual powers that are being shared today.
Yeah.
Which is, again, to cap it, is to accept the ego's reality.
Yeah. Yes. To make a little wiggle room for the ego to, yeah.
Mhm.
You can be on your spiritual path, but include this too, which never was. Okay, thanks, guys.
Yeah, thank you.
We're not here to draw swords with our brothers. We're here to draw swords against an ego thought system and to expose it.
Exactly.
So
Thank you.
only an ego can be offended. So that's why Nouk and I have some work to do. It's righteous wrath. All right, you guys. We'll see you next time.
Yeah. Have a
Thank
beautiful
you.
day, miraculous day.
Yeah, thank you.
Beautiful. Thank you.